You know what I think of that?
Oh, apparently it says you're live. Oh, there we go. It said you were live, but you were still hosting. It's like, yes, this is Fizz Stream.
Yes, I play Azure Lane. That is in fact what I am doing.
Yes. Why is the screen not there?
Why is what not where?
Oh, I think it was trying to load an advertisement but failed.
Bears Gamer, how's it going? I've got. Hey.
Were you playing Sonic Freeriders again?
Yeah, totally. That's what it was. I was playing Sonic Free Riders. I'm in Egypt. That's cool. I wish Twitch would update. Is it will work for mobile? No. We're not doing a mobile port. Someone else can do it, but we're not going to do it.
It comes in and out.
Yep. Because my PC is an Intel Pentium 4. Alright, I mean, we're trying to get it to function better on lower end PCs, but there's only so much we can do. And we're not interested in doing a mobile port because that is a whole other ballpark and I don't want to mess with it. I thought our manual would have been back.
Of course not. I'm just gonna quickly grab something. I'm gonna get my charger for my Switch.
Alright.
2 minutes.
Have to go? Alright, well, thank you for stopping by, Fairs. Alright. Mario 64 plus Encore mode? What? Okay then. God damn it. Back's hurting. Really weird back pain too. It's like out of my back near my chest.
Back pain?
Yep.
Where?
This is like the left side of my back near my chest. Like almost on my side, but it's still in the back.
Oh, where you've been lying when you've been sleeping?
And just now I normally do.
In a uncomfortable position. Willow. She proper reaches out.
Meow. That's another thing I meant to change. I forgot to change. Oh, by the way, I did want to actually mention something. I completely forgot I wanted to mention this to Emmanuel too.
What?
Involving the enemy spawner. One thing we could probably do with the enemy spawner is instead of having the spawner literally spawn in enemies in waves, like it goes wave by wave spawning in the enemies, what we could probably do instead is to make it more customizable and probably a lot easier to like understand and put together is instead of having like locations and actors that spawn in, we just create an array of actors that we then like you can put the enemies out and design them however you want, but then you just simply use like the eyedropper tool to add them to an array inside of the spawner. What?
Mm-hmm. Oh no, my cat was getting right next to the microphone.
Oh. But with this method, we could simply say we'd have to alter the enemies a little bit, but whenever like the enemies are loaded in and they recognize that they're part of a spawner, or like the spawner loads in and it recognizes it as enemies in its list, it can go through all the enemies and tell them to not do anything, like go into inactive mode, which would like turn off their visibility, their collision, their physics and stuff like that, and then are called in. Does that make sense? Whenever you enter into the ring.
Yeah. Oh, Willow.
Your cat having a cow.
She's doing all the stuff to, annoy me. Willow, please give me 2 minutes. Her tail is like really puffed up at the moment.
Oh, like she's agitated about something.
I didn't know your tail could get that big. I think she's annoyed because I'm not giving her attention. She like keeps grabbing my hand and pulling it to her.
Oh, kitty.
Yep. She wants me to like give her attention right now, and I'm like, I'm busy.
But I am cat. You must give cat attention. Cat demands attention.
My Nintendo Switch is on charge. Come on. There you go. There's your good girl with the really big puffed up tail.
We've waited longer than 5 minutes. We're actually closer than 10 minutes. I am actually going to have to pull out the GitHub to remind myself of everything we've done. Just because.
Guess what, miss? It's
been a while since I've worked on anything.
Recently.
The what?
It's a common phrase. Not much has changed since last time.
Yeah. Well, there's some things that have been done.
That's also the other common phrase.
We streamed on the 29th, and I was talking to Emmanuel about it. Up until last Tuesday, I made a push every single day. But then I had that problem with GitHub, and GitHub was failing on me, and I had to re-download the repo, and then I'm just like, eh. So I didn't do anything.
God, yeah, I remember you needing to re-download the thing.
Yeah, that was not fun. Alright, so let's see here. I guess one of the first things we can show off is here. We have added a new type of bomb. New
There's
tails.
Tails is a little arse and he keeps coming up with bombs.
This bomb is called the stun bomb. And the nice thing about the stun bomb is the stun bomb has the ability to attract enemies and to shock them. However, stun bomb will not damage enemies whenever they go off. Or finally goes off. They'll hit the enemies, they go into a stun state, they get knocked back. However, if I increase my scrap level, the time in which they get stunned for will increase. Stun for a little bit longer. Get knocked back.
Jimmy.
And then if you max out the stun bomb strength, scrap level. Alright, so the stun... Okay, I remember now. The stun bomb level 2 will deal a single tick of damage. However, the stun bomb level 3, I think, will get a bonus amount of damage.
Well, hello there.
Hello there.
Is that a manual?
God, you're
Oh,
quiet.
it's not me.
Okay, no. So the bonus scrap does not give you any additional damage. I don't believe. But the stun bomb will do 1 tick of damage on reaching level 2. I think the radius just increases even more. Yeah. So the stun bomb isn't complete in terms of functionality, but it is functional for the most part because we have the... I think what we were thinking of doing, if I remember right, Emmanuel, now that you're here, we were discussing the idea of the stun bomb arcing between enemies it hits.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
So like if you hit one enemy with the stun bomb, an electrical current will arc between other enemies. There is currently a bug where enemies who track the target and then lose the target will not be able to search anymore, like they just... I don't really know why. But... I think killing them will reset. No, probably not. Alright, so that's the one issue, and then that's not really related to the bomb, that's more so related to enemy tracking code. So, but all of the enemies are capable of being distracted by the stun bomb, and the stun bomb has a higher priority. We did, in order to do this, we included a priority system for enemy attention and the tracking system, so whenever an enemy recognizes that there is a target nearby that has a higher priority than what it is currently tracking, it will then swap targets to that new target. I do remember we were talking about adding a system where if the targets... Like, I don't think that we ever implemented this properly, but like if they lose their targets, they don't go back to normal, if I remember right.
I think I was more so just talking about the gating for it, maybe.
Yeah, there's probably just a problem with the gating where if they don't properly... They don't lose their target, they don't properly, like, you know...
Oh, I'm sorry, your ears are really distracting. I'm looking at stream and it's like, ooh, my eyes are keep gluing to.
What?
Your cat ears!
Oh, well, fuck you.
Fuck.
I paid $130 for them, I'm gonna wear them.
Till someone breaks off the ears.
Oh,
Someone
yes,
breaks off the ears, they're gonna owe me $130.
That was actually the tamest answer you could have given.
Alright, so the stun bomb was the first thing we've added. Altering the enemy tracking code was another thing, obviously. Including a priority system into it, which I could probably go into a little more detail about. There's also this system right here, where we had talked about this in the past, and we just haven't gotten around to doing it, but I finally got around to doing it now, and it's, for the most part, functional, but it's still got a few things that's got to get done with it. But throwing bombs while flying is a lot easier now, because the arc will always go down and in front of you, and your your velocity will be locked, meaning you can't move up or down while doing so. Your top speed is also limited too, so like while you can actually move relatively quickly while flying, if you're aiming with the bomb, your top speed and your mobility in general will be lowered while you're trying to.
I see it now.
Throw. So, even though your velocity and your height is locked, you can't really abuse that because you don't go as fast as if you were just normally flying. Is, I think, a pretty good balance. But it does make throwing bombs while flying much easier. But could be a little bit easier. I know Emmanuel and I were talking earlier today about making some changes to make it even easier.
Yeah, but mostly minor. It definitely is a big improvement from before.
Yeah.
I'm back now, so.
I was more so referring to like trying to do carpet runs. Like it kind of feels like if you're just trying to hit a general group of enemies with it, it's really hard to hit them unless you're close enough they can lock onto them. Which is really what I was talking about. One thing that could be done to make them make it a bit more forgiving is like the ability to lock on is controlled by like a string of spears essentially you're creating. I'm talking to the audience about that. You could maybe just increase the number of spears when you're flying so it goes further, or increase the distance between them.
You can also increase the radius so they have an easier time actually overlapping with the target as well.
Oh, was that the radius you were talking about? I thought you meant the radius for them like exploding.
No, the tracking radius, like the green spheres. Like we can increase that radius, which will make it easier for them to actually hit targets.
Okay, that's what you're. Okay, I was confused. I thought you just meant like make the bombs have bigger hitboxes, essentially.
No.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that was my bad. I misheard you.
I mean, we'll probably none of the bomb hitboxes are exact right now. We'll probably end up altering in the future. But... And this applies for all bombs. So even if I were getting ready to throw a solid bomb out here, like so, the enemy will wear it like a hat, flung halfway across the world.
I actually have an idea of what you can do with the homing bombs if you throw it that way. What you can do is maybe...
I said the homing bombs currently, they just fall down below you, like so.
Yeah. What we could do is maybe do a hybrid of that, where maybe they'll go all the way down to the ground, but when they do, they'll either turn into those ground bombs I was talking about, or they just turn into the flying ones on the ground, essentially. So the trade-off is that, like, it takes a while for them to hit the ground, but once they do, they're autonomous. But then again, it could be useful how it is now, because it could potentially, like, hit aerial enemies that happen to be below you, but I don't know. They kind of remind me now of, like, have you heard of Kerbal Space Program, Fizz?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, imagine, like, a NASA shuttle that releases a rocket underneath it. And you could do that in KSP, for instance.
I just noticed an issue with these, or with the homing bombs. I'll talk about that later, though.
Oh, please, no.
Let's see here. The flying arc code has been implemented. There's still a couple of bugs with it. It's not working entirely as intended. Like for example, it doesn't want to function if you transition from walking to flying while readying a bomb. So if I ready a bomb and then I try to fly, it doesn't want to work. Don't know why. But as long as you started flying, it seems to work fine. And if you stop flying, it works for the most part as far as I'm concerned. So if like I do this and then I cancel my flight, it'll go back to normal.
Oh my god.
Okay.
If I fly, and if I stop here and land, yeah, for some reason if you land, it's not wanting to redo it. But
Okay, we could look into that.
Yeah.
There may be a greater, like, gating issue, but I think it may be something like that.
it shouldn't be that difficult of a fix. But that there is one other thing we've done. Let's see
You
here.
can show off the new aiming mode too.
Yeah, I guess we'll continue on with the bombs since that is the main focus of, or not the main focus, but like, since we're already on that topic. So, if, hold on, do you have that set for all of the bombs, or are there any bombs where you don't have that set for?
All of them are set to, but like I said, you can change it so that some of them don't have it.
Okay, I was just wondering, because if you didn't, I was going to do that bomb first to showcase it, but it's not. So, as we had shown off before in the past, you can change the bomb's arc by pressing like crouch or the attack button, like the crouch button or the attack button to alter its arc. So this here is like a low sweeping arc, this here is a medium arc, and if you were to press the F key, it would be a high arc. However, one thing that we're testing and playing around with, and if enough people really like it, we might end up keeping around, is if you press F or the Y button or the action key, you'll go into a over-the-shoulder aim mode in which you can aim up and down freely, however you want. And then whenever you let go, you get pulled back. Although for some reason, well, yeah, it's gonna stay every time you throw a bomb, like so. Boop. So you throw a bomb. If you want to move out of it, you just gotta press like the action button or the crouch button. Boop, like so. Although we might end up changing it so like letting go of the bomb also toggles it off, you know what I mean? Manual.
Oh, sorry. I forgot I had my mute on for a second. One thing we could do maybe is like just essentially, yeah, like Fizz said, just have it just go back to like the previous bomb setting. Although in this setting, I think you would just go back to like medium mode.
Yeah, probably just go back to medium mode more than likely. Because like if you kept it on this way, it would be like every single one. Keeping the arc between the regular throw and the low throw, that's not that big of a deal because your camera's not being messed around with, and neither is your movement. So changing that feels less intrusive, but because this literally pulls the camera over your shoulder and changes your movement type, it feels a little more intrusive if it stays that way and you have to manually tap out of it. So we'll probably make some adjustments to that.
Yeah, you definitely can with that one. It's like in general, this is just something we're thinking about.
Yeah. And like Emmanuel said a minute ago, it's set up so that way if you don't want a specific type of bomb to have an over-the-shoulder mode, and instead you just want to simply give it a higher arc, you can do that as well. Oop.
Yeah, I meant to ask you what you thought about that actually.
What?
Like having the over-the-shoulder view, like versus having the normal view. I just didn't know what you thought about that.
I'm kind of fine either way, because like it is more of a contextual thing, to be honest. Some bombs do.
Yeah. Hold on, I'll be right back. Hold on.
All right. All right. Well, until Emmanuel gets back, I can answer a question he asked.
How rude.
I'll move on to the next thing, which is the bomb bouncing. I guess one small thing I could add real quick is the fact that some rail interactions have been fixed. If you would like land on a rail while flying, you wouldn't have the proper gravity reset. If you landed on a rail and you're like in the middle of an ability or anything other than like being underwater, that would influence the your gravity. It wouldn't reset the gravity properly before you did a rail jump, so, or when you left the rail, I don't think. So now it will properly do that.
Nice one.
So that was fixed. Another small thing that we have included, it was pretty fun, was that I began working on it to like get it prepped up, and Emmanuel went ahead and added the rest of its functionality today is some more bomb interactions where you throw a bomb and then you hit the bomb. You can actually re-influence its direction. Let's see here. Pop. Like so. And if you hit a bomb and it's near an enemy, it'll automatically attract to that enemy, which will make redirecting bombs by hitting them much nicer. The bombs do tend to do something like that on occasion. We do have an idea on how to fix it, but it's more of an Unreal default problem than it is our problem. And I think... Let's see here. Oh yeah, that was another thing I forgot to mention. Bombs do have homing properties now. Like, all bombs have a homing property now. So, earlier, how it used to work is if you homed onto a target like so, and then you threw a bomb, the bomb would go in that enemy's direction, even if you looked away. That way, hitting an enemy from like a further away angle was a little bit easier because you didn't have to be exactly precise. As long as the arc had overlap with the target you want, and you threw it, the bomb would head over in that direction. Which, it worked fine, and it still does technically work fine, and it still does work like that, but the problem with it was, if that enemy was a moving target, then you were out of luck, because you would throw it, it would go to where that enemy was whenever you threw it, but if that enemy is no longer there, then you just essentially miss anyway. So now what happens is, if you lock onto an enemy, and you'll see that that enemy was walking towards me. It's kind of difficult to see, but I throw the bomb, but then like after half a second or so, after its initial throw arc, it would accelerate towards the enemy. Kind of like so. So as long as you have targeted the enemy, and you threw it whilst the enemy was in a targeted state, or while your bomb arc had the enemy as a targeted actor, the bomb will automatically home in on that enemy. And this is for all of the bombs. You can tell bombs to not have a targeting system. I believe the stun bomb is one that doesn't. So if I were to target that enemy with a stun bomb, that stun bomb does not have any homing properties. I've turned it off. So all of the bombs are customizable in that sense. You can tell the bombs if you don't want them to be a homing bomb, they don't have to be. So this will definitely make combat with light characters a lot easier. For one. Because you're more likely to actually hit the targets you want once you've locked onto them. And similar with flying here, if I was to fly here, and as long as I've locked onto the target, the bomb's always going to try and get to that target, which in general just makes combat flow a lot nicer for the flight parent, because you don't have to worry about being pinpoint accurate with bombs. How's it going, Tailsy? The manual back yet?
He is not.
This fucking late. Doing good? That's great to hear. So, I guess I could quickly go over everything once again. How about you? I'm alright. I was fine, and then we started the stream, and my back started hurting, and I got tired. So, I don't know why this always happens. I'm always fine until I start streaming, and then my body's like, hey, you're streaming, let me do everything in my power to annoy you, and I'm like, god damn it. So...
Camper.
as I mentioned earlier, there's some issues with the grind rails that I have fixed where if you use like an ability or something that alters your gravity and you land on the rail, you can properly jump off of it because the grind rails weren't setting your gravity properly. And technically the gravity's still not being set properly in this instance, but that's the flying code's fault, not the gravity, or not the rails. So there's that. As I mentioned earlier, we have bomb throwing code for flying now. So if you want to fly and like carpet bomb an enemy, you can do so. Your velocity is locked, so you can't fall down, but you also can't go up any, making it a lot easier to focus on enemies rather than your flying. But your top speed and mobility have been reduced, that way you can't just abuse it. So if I was gonna fly forward here, I can fly around relatively quickly. But if I want to swap over and ready a bomb, I'm going to slow down quite drastically, and my ability to maneuver has been reduced a bit. Just so you don't abuse the fact that your terminal velocity has been locked. Let's see here. Another thing we went over was stun bombs. That was another thing we went over. We've included a stun bomb that can distract enemies. So I threw that bomb, and that bomb overlapped with the enemy's perception radius, and the bomb has a higher priority than I do. So the stun bomb is going to attract enemies to it. We had to alter the enemy attraction code or targeting code to have a priority system. So enemy, or if it recognizes something that it's targeting has, or if it recognizes a new target has a higher priority than its current target, then it will focus on that new target instead. It's still a little broken though, because as soon as it loses its current target, they don't go back to normal. It's not functioning as intended, which I don't think it ever was, or that part. I think that's something we needed to fix. It's not the bomb's fault, that's the enemy's fault. The stun bombs don't deal damage until they reach scrap level 2. And in which case they will deal 1 damage upon exploding. As you can see, they did 1 damage. Yeah, the stun bomb's a cube. All of those static meshes are placeholders until we get some actual meshes in. Cough, cough.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I'll have to look up somebody to model for us, eh? I'm looking it up now.
Another thing, Emmanuel I started working on it, and Emmanuel had finished it. It's not really finished. It's got some issues in it, but it's functioning. Is some bomb throwing code, or bomb bouncing code, actually, as I call it. I call it bomb bouncing. If you run up and attack an enemy or attack a bomb, you can redirect its velocity. God damn it. It's a little bit hard to do. We'll have to adjust it. But if a bomb is redirected, you can see the little debug prongs that shoot out. If the bomb recognizes there's a target and that homing range, it will automatically home in on enemies. So if you want to redirect a bomb with the throw, you can do so, and that works for most bombs. So if I were to throw a remote bomb out here, I hit it, it would then get redirected to an enemy. If I hit it here and I knock it forward, it's not going to do it, but that's because it'll only lock onto enemies for a few few frames. I think it's like 10 frames or so. It'll trace for targets. If it doesn't trace, or if it doesn't find anyone, it'll just stop and continue on its merry way. So if I threw this here, and then if I just knocked it, it'll just fly over there. So the bomb redirection code is pretty useful for redirecting bombs you might have thrown incorrectly. Or if you just want to do something cool like that.
Trick shots.
If you want to do some trick shots, you can do that too. Bonk. Like that. We'll probably have to adjust some of the physics for things like the rolling bomb's default speed and stuff like that, because it can be a little bit difficult to properly like catch up to the bomb if the bomb is already in motion. But it can also be really useful. Bonk. It'd also be pretty fun. What?
Just seeing the bomb just turn around on its own accord and like, oh, I'm gonna get you now.
Yep. Another thing that we have included, and I was talking it right before TLZ showed up, was the fact that bombs, all of the bombs now have homing code in them. All the bombs can now home it on a target. So how it used to be is if your throwing arc would overlap with an enemy and it recognizes that target as an enemy that it can lock onto, it will lock onto it, and even if you move or change directions and you let go and you throw the bomb, it will still go to that target. But that didn't work for moving enemies. Excuse me. So, because like even though it was expecting to get to that target, if the enemy had moved, the bomb wouldn't know it. It just simply would get thrown towards the enemy's location at the time of it being thrown, which works great for stationary enemies but not moving enemies. So now all of the enemies have homing functionality. So like even if I were to look away after locking onto that target, I would throw the bomb and you can see it like launch upward and then accelerate towards the enemy. It takes a second to kick in before it starts to home in on the enemy. Like so. And this works for all bombs, however, you can turn them off. So even the sticky bomb can do that. Like so. However, for the stun bomb, for example, it doesn't. So I'm targeting on that enemy. That enemy's walking away. And you could see that the bomb was thrown in that direction, but it didn't follow the enemy. That's because we have the homing functionality turned off for the stun bomb. So you don't have to have that functionality on if you don't wish it to be. I think we have it turned off for the homing bomb as well. Mostly because you're less likely to actually... Yeah, we do have it turned off for the homing bomb. Because the bomb's gonna home in on a target automatically anyway. So it doesn't matter too much. You can kick the homing bomb as well. So like if you launch the homing bomb, you're like, oh, I didn't want to go in that direction. You can kick it. Bonk. Nope, that was not correct. Oop, there it goes. Went the wrong way. So that's another function that we included in the bombs. This will make bombs a lot easier to use in combat, as you don't have to worry about the precise location of enemies whenever you throw the bombs. As long as you have targeted the enemies upon, like on the throw, the bombs will handle getting to the target. As you probably mentioned, or not mentioned, as you saw earlier, more than likely, there was an instance where the bomb kind of just revolved around the enemy over and over again. As I mentioned before, that's an Unreal problem. Not really us, because we're using Unreal's default homing functionality for projectiles. But there are a few things we have in mind to try and fix that from occurring too much. And then the other thing we had shown off was an over the shoulder throw mode.
Over the Frodo.
Yeah.
Over the Frodo.
So if you press crouch, the bomb's arc will go into a low state. But if you press the action button, it will go into a normal state. And if you remember in the past, we would say if you press the special key or the Y button or the F key, it would go into a higher arc. Okay, so it'd go into a high throw state. That is still possible, and you can customize individual bombs to do that if you want to. But now you can go into a custom throw arc like so. It will follow the center of your camera in an over-the-shoulder manner, and then when we throw the bomb will get thrown at that arc, like so. So if I saw these enemies over here, and I wanted to hit them, I can simply just look up at them using the custom arc. Oh, that missed. Oh, ooh, there it goes.
The bomb's determined it'll get there.
I don't know how it's missing. The enemy's not moving or anything.
I love how it like starts to orbit.
Yeah, I know. There's like a float variable that dictates how fast it moves. And currently right now it's one flat variable that is a change, but we could dynamically change the intensity of that float to prevent that issue. So like probably slow it down if it gets closer to the enemy, or speed it up if it gets closer. I don't know. We'll have to play around with it. But an over-the-shoulder mode is now possible. Funk. Allowing you to throw bombs at a more precise arc that you would like to have.
Tails is third-person shooter.
Yep, Tails is a third-person shooter now. And if you don't want to do that, you just have to like press the action button or the crouch button to get out of that mode. We're gonna probably change it so that way throwing the bomb will automatically exit the mode. So like if I go into here, if I go into the over shoulder mode and I throw a bomb, the next time I throw the bomb, it's probably going to instead be like this. It's just going to be in a basic medium arc, more than likely. But like I said earlier, the that over-the-shoulder arc can be altered to, or not altered. The bombs can be altered to decide whether or not they even want to use that arc. So, for example, with the homing bomb, I don't really see much of a purpose for something like that with the homing bomb, but there could be. So if you simply wanted to throw the homing bomb up into the air, we could change it so that way it doesn't do the... Alright. How's it going, Black Imposter? How you doing today? But as I was saying, if you don't want a bomb to have that custom over-the-shoulder arc, you don't have to. You can change it so that way the individual bombs. And if a lot of people don't even like this idea, we can probably get rid of it, but I think it's pretty neat. Emmanuel implemented it. And we'll probably end up using it and make adjustments to it. But that's something that we can do now. Let's see here. Another thing that we have done is not actually bomb related. I'm pretty sure we have shown this off. Yeah, we showed this off on the Twitter. We didn't we didn't go too much into detail with it, but we have shown it off on the Twitter. Which I think I started working on it right after last dev stream. But if you follow the Twitter, you know what we're going to be talking about here with the... If you do a tailspin, you can obviously do the tornado tailspin move right here. And you can use it to attack enemies. Oh, come on. Bonk. Attacking an enemy will bounce off of them. And if you refresh the tailspin but right before hitting an enemy, you'll reduce the amount of knockback you get whenever you hit the enemy. Bonk, like so. versus if I just do a regular tailspin. I'll bounce off it like so. However, if you jump while doing a tornado tailspin, you'll do a tornado tailspin jump, or just the tornado jump as we call it. The tornado jump is a much higher regular jump that has a lot less horizontal movement to it. Your top speed is reduced overall, meaning you can't go all that far with it. And your gravity is also reduced, meaning if you jump off of like a high area with it, you can go decently far with it, but you do have like a really slow descent. But the two primary features of this move are mostly for vertical height gain. So, for example, if I wanted to get up here, but I didn't want to have to worry about flying, like, I didn't want to have to sit here and fly and then head up here, worry about using up my stamina, I can instead do a tornado jump and land up there without ever having to fly. Another nice thing about it is the fact you can bounce off of enemies with it, and honestly, it's really fun. If I had this enemy right here, I bounce off of it, I can go pretty high with it, like so. And that's honestly a move that we didn't intend to happen whenever I coded it and put it together, but it was so fun that I decided to keep it in. And it honestly could probably be used for like really precise platforming, you know what I mean?
Kaizo.
Yeah, you can go for some Kaizo tricks or some neat level skip or like level section skips if you can like bounce off the enemy at the right angle or whatever, you know. Another nice thing about it is it gives you a little bit of extra height because you can do a normal fly out of it. So if you need just a tiny little bit of extra height to your jump before you start flying, just to get like a little bit of extra height out of the flight, you can start off with a tornado jump. So for example, with the flying here, I can't quite reach the top of this white block actor right here. However, if I did a tornado jump and I started flying, I'd actually make it. Like so. And of course, you can also use the tornado spin to bounce bombs. You don't have to do it with the regular tailspin. So if let's do a remote. Regular rolling bomb. Bonk. Oh, there goes that guy. Holy shit. Oh, then.
He escaped. Oh no, he's out of the pen.
That is a little too powerful. This dude's on the move now. Holy shit. He's free.
Oh no. His rampage may begin.
Wait, did you guys set him as a captain?
Oh, I think Emmanuel might have. I'm testing it out. Oh no, did I? I think I did actually.
Where does Hammer
Yeah,
go?
did it go? Oh, the hammers never respawn. That's the bug with them.
Oh, the actor doesn't respawn them.
Yeah. I need to put custom coding on the respawn for him.
I thought I was throwing out a sticky bomb, not a solid bomb. Bonk.
I love it how he goes flying, but the others just stay there.
Yep. Go. And that's pretty much all we have to show off, to be honest.
Just a bunch of smaller tails tweaks.
Yeah.
You did mention to me earlier, I know like a day or two ago, we are pretty much towards the end now with this.
Mm.
There's just a lot more polishing stuff left to do, and then finishing off the enemies, and then it's practically almost going to be ready for the release finally.
Yeah, we're pretty much to the point. One of the things we wanted to do was this redirect move. Like, we wanted to get this redirect move functioning. And that was like one of the last features we actually wanted to do with the bombs.
Fucking hell.
But
Just seeing the enemy just like get launched because you couldn't see the bomb from that angle, so it just out of nowhere just goes yeet.
fun fact about the bomb, the remote bomb, and I actually kind of fixed this just a little bit ago before the stream. The explosion radius of the bomb will change depending on whether or not it is stuck to an enemy. If I threw this remote bomb over here, and then I ignited it. Oh, come on. One of the reasons why the enemies get knocked up into the air is because the explosion actually originates from below them. So what it does whenever the sticky bomb attaches to an enemy, it grabs that enemy's half height, and it will take that half height, subtract it by a set number, and then set that as its origin point for the explosion. So that way the explosion will always happen slightly below the enemy. Unless, of course, the bomb lands directly on top of the enemy. If the bomb lands anywhere but directly on top of the enemy will get knocked upward like that. But of course, if the bomb lands directly on top, then it's not going to do that because the height it has to clear is not great enough. It's just a random fun fact involving the bombs. But yeah, that was mainly one of the things we wanted to do. Was get the bomb bouncing functioning, and once we got the bomb bounce functioning, we were pretty much like, all right, we're about ready to get into the polish phase of Tails, which includes bug fixing, adjusting the numbers, maybe adjusting how some things function under the hood slightly. I do have to do one more thing with the scrap system, which is add an alternate version of it where you lose scrap based on the throw you do. Like if you throw a bomb, like you have the option that throwing bombs actually cost scrap.
Could you just give me the list of bombs again? Because I'm just sending a message quickly. It's
what?
Like, how many bombs have we got?
We have. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 bombs currently.
I've got 5, and what is it? Just like a normal?
We have a float bomb or a balloon bomb. We have a homing bomb. We have a rolling bomb.
So sorry. So balloon bomb. I know there's a stun bomb.
Yeah, stun bomb. There's a remote bomb / sticky bomb. It could be one of the either two. A rolling bomb and a homing bomb.
I'm sending a message to the graphic designers.
I think I'm going to add one more bomb. It's going to be a time bomb. It's probably going to be it probably won't be able to home in on enemies. It'll probably be a very stationary bomb, like you throw it, it just sits there, and then after a set amount of time it goes off, but it is like a rather big explosion. So that will probably be the last bomb I create.
No, it does.
Everything else is probably just going to be adjustments, and we're not really, stuck only on these bombs specifically. These are just the bombs that we're creating, and we're creating kind of a little bit of interplay between them all. The only bombs that I know of that need functionality expanded on them is the stun bomb. It's the only bomb I know of that needs a function that actually needs to be coded and created. All the other bombs, for the most part, kind of function as intended. They just need to be patched up and fixed in some cases, and polish added to them. But yeah, you're right. We're pretty much to the point with Tails where it's almost all polish and patchwork now. And once we get Tails cleaned up, we gotta get more functionality into the enemies, and we gotta get some things cleaned up, but we're almost ready for a release. This update.
Yeah.
Let's see. Is that your cat?
Yes. She is being incredibly noisy tonight.
She
Right.
needs your attention, apparently.
She does.
Meow.
Right. I sent a message to graphic designers because I just thought thing to do for the hood for Tails, which is getting some icons for the bombs, just very generic, like symboled icons that wouldn't. It's not like a picture of the bomb itself, but just something generic that would easily tell you what it is, and something that could be shared across all themes. So I just sent the message for that. I got an idea.
So for like the balloon bomb, it'd be like just a balloon.
Yeah, like a little balloon icon sort of thing. A timer could kind of look like in movies where it's like a digital clock sort of thing.
Yeah.
But that could be cool.
The homing bomb could just be a targeting reticle.
Yeah.
I don't know what the rolling bomb would be. It'd probably just be a ball, and the stun bomb would be like a lightning.
Lightning bolt.
Whatever. And I don't know about the sticky bomb. The sticky bomb.
I could just imagine a bomb, but like it looks like it's got like a splatter around the side of it or something to make it look like, I don't know, some sort of glue, some sort. I don't know. It'll be up to them really, but you know what I mean. Like just doing something with symbols.
There's also this here.
Oh no. You're going to show people that thing is now inside of the engine. The engine is now cursed.
The engine is now cursed. This here exists inside of the engine. And yes, this is the asset ripped straight out of
Sonic
R. I got it from Model Resource and all the textures. It doesn't want to work though, because whenever I simulate it, this happens.
Because we don't know how physics bodies properly work yet.
I pick it up, so its limbs doesn't want to work. If I pick it up too much, the limbs freak the fuck out.
Yeah, we need to learn how that thing works, like physics assets work.
Once we can get this functioning, it'll probably be the first asset we include to the bombs, because this is supposed to be the stun bomb. It's supposed to be like a dummy stun bomb.
Mm.
But yeah, this happens. Because it's cursed, I guess.
Yep. Having fun there. Yes, he is having fun.
Why was I programmed to feel pain? So
He's programmed to fall apart.
We're gonna have to figure out how that works. But that'll probably be the asset for the stun bomb, because the stun bomb is a bomb that excuse me. Pretty much just distracts enemies and then blows up. And we thought Tails Doll would be pretty funny for that, so. We don't really have much of anything else to discuss or talk about, so if anyone has any questions or things they want to talk about, they can. Emmanuel fucking disappeared, so.
I know. Checking out the course of conspiracy. Wombles!
Wombles, what?
I tried to spell symbols, I misspelled it. I went to click the like autocorrect, and it's one the autocorrect for wombles.
Yeah, wombles. No questions? Don't have any concerns, or you don't have any... why the fuck did we add that cursed Tails doll in here? Nothing?
Symbols. So my brain is failing to remember how to spell that right now. There we are.
Yeah, due to just engine problems, I've not been able to work on it too much. And whenever I was able to work on it in the past week, I've just not had the motivation to do so. Emmanuel got nanobots injected into him. I had to take some time out for that. Ah, so that's the problem. Emmanuel was telling me about that. I wonder how he would create that. He was telling me that there was a bug where the aiming code just would not show up. Oh, that's another thing I need to talk to him about. I forgot about that. Okay. You can still technically throw bombs while in a free flight mode. You should not be able to do that.
Too OP.
Yeah, that'd be too OP. And really hard to control.
Yep. Just imagine if you could do that and you catch up with your bomb and then you could like bomb bounce.
Yeah, I know.
That would be like hella tactics.
One thing Emmanuel and I were talking about, I don't know if you were there, Reese, I know you had shown up, but Emmanuel and I had discussed the idea of attaching the, I think you were there for the last bit of it, we were thinking of attaching the flight stamina bar to the tornado spin. So, like, the stamina bar that shows up whenever you're flying, that would also,
Oh, just so it makes it easier to see when you're spinning.
yeah, but it would also, it's literally part of your stamina, meaning if I am going to spin a whole lot and then I try to fly, I would be left with that stamina left over. Or if I was flying and then I landed and I wanted tornado spin, I would only have so much stamina left over. So it would interconnect the two moves. Which could lead into some give and take play. And the stamina bar would only increment every time you did a tailspin. Like, it wouldn't be actually on a timer. Like the flight is. The flight's on a timer. The tornado spin wouldn't be. It would. The stamina would simply increment every time you increment the tailspin. So we'll have to play around and test that idea. Of course, he also had the idea of if you do a tornado jump and you land, you can continue on the tornado spin, which I'm not against doing. I would just have to figure out how to code that. I don't know if I'm going to do that today, but it is something that would have to be done. But that could help with the flow of like the tornado tailspin.
Should be easy to intertwine the two, because the stamina should be like a separate little mini function. Drains.
Yeah, like actually tracking the variables will not be difficult at all. That'll be super easy.
You're just wondering if it's a decent idea to do.
Yeah, we're talking about like the gameplay feel, how it would feel to like have the two moves interconnected to each other like that. Like, how much would the tornado spin step on flying toes and vice versa, you know? Because like one of the things I literally just mentioned is doing a tornado spin jump allows you to fly a lot higher, but that would be meaningless if you just end up with less amounts of stamina than you would have in the first place, you know? Like, had you just done a regular jump and fly. So there's certain interplay with that we'll have to figure out.
It's like it'd be good for balance, I would say, but I'm starting to level. I'm thinking like level design stuff because if you had like some sort of level where Tails couldn't get out by normally flying, and then you do the little tactic, and you then are able to get out of it. Right. It's something kind of difficult to work around, but obviously that comes down to level design. But I like this whole idea of the tactic of, you know, doing the jump and you get extra height. It's a nice little tactic.
Because like doing that right there, that's a lot of extra height I just got by using
bouncing off the enemy.
Like using my brain to like, oh, if I bounce off this enemy, I get extra height, and then I have to actually have the mechanical skill of doing so, because controlling yourself in midair with a tornado jump is not the easiest. You have very limited midair control. So hitting an enemy, especially if that enemy is moving, is not easy if you don't line it up properly.
The ricochet.
But it is rewarding if you do it. And it's fun.
Yeah.
So
I think that's fun. Keep it in, and I'm gonna always call that the ricochet.
Whee! Oh Jesus Christ! Oh Jesus Christ! Oh fuck!
Oh.
I know why that happened too.
So we were just talking about, you know, mechanical balance.
If we keep the ricochet, we're gonna have to nerf it in midair.
Yeah.
Because I know why this happened. Oh my! Flew back through that enemy. Okay. That enemy's collision not reset. I want to try that again because that was fun. Bonk.
Yep. This is a ricochet.
Yeah, that's very much a ricochet move.
So that's what I've dubbed it as, the Tails ricochet.
Oh, and there goes Eggy Boy.
No, he's still in there on his own.
No, we need to eventually get around to including bosses. I don't know if we'll do that for this update or not. I would like to, but I doubt it.
I don't think that's this update now.
Yeah, probably not. There's still silver things we gotta get straightened out.
Yes.
If I had to guess, probably what we're gonna do is we're probably gonna get this update out. We're going to obviously take a short break. And other than like patches to fix things up and probably some balance changes, probably gonna put combat on hold for a little while so we can work on a few other things. One of those things is probably gonna be Eggman. Another thing is gonna be Silver. We've kind of left Silver in the dust a little bit, and he definitely needs more to him because he's not finished, and he won't be finished when we get this out. So that's gonna have to be a thing. And then there's a certain other character that we've been holding off for like 2 years to add.
Yeah. So because it's super special.
I don't know who it is. Just just some character that we should get around to adding.
Lives in a pineapple under the sea. Oh shit! I wasn't meant to say that, was I?
SpongeBob
Damn
confirmed.
SpongeBob confirmed for Infinity Plus. We're making Battle for Bikini Bottom again.
There's also more Wisp objects we need to include. Probably some more Wisp interaction and like that.
A little rework for one Wisp.
Yep.
Now I say that.
And I might just hold off on Ivory Lightning. I don't know. We'll see about Ivory Lightning. Obviously it will get done. I just don't know if it's going to be this update or next update.
Oh no! Like I'm not doing that. I'm not doing the Blue Cube updates this update because I think that would be too much. We need to get the that at least done.
Yeah.
It's a rework for next.
Blue Cube. We might honestly, depending on how things go, I would not be against just completely reconstructing Blue Cube from the ground up. From a gameplay perspective. I mean, like, completely change how it functions.
As long as we keep the banging tune.
I mean, we're not going to change the tune, obviously.
Got to keep the banging tune.
But I would not be against completely reworking Blue Cube into something else.
Yes.
Um,
We have already been drafting up designs for new Blue Cube interactions at least.
Yep.
Because yes, Blue Cube is the worst Wisp, but he is the best Wisp.
Epic dev stream. How's it going, 3D plays? You're about an hour and 10 minutes late.
We have already gone over everything.
We have. We ran out of things to go over. And I've already went over everything twice, actually. So what?
The guy was following you.
I actually went over everything twice.
Yep.
Just because we didn't have a whole lot to show off.
It
It would be interesting to rework Blue Cube.
I still remember doing all those animations. I still feel really good.
Yeah. Actually recreated, like none of these were imported. Like
Yeah.
you actually sat down and recreated them.
I recreated every single Wisp animation, and I think I did a really good freaking job. They were fun to do.
No,
I had to redo their skeletal structures as well.
they're all
Yeah, that's the nice thing.
what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know. What is the
Not-
word
not-
you're looking for?
Not true. They're all the same as their
Oh,
original.
fearful.
Yeah, the animations were faithfully recreated from the originals. So like none of these are the originally ripped animations because I don't animations, but probably could.
You would. I couldn't rip them, but I know people could. But we didn't know anybody who could get them at the time.
Yep. None of them are ripped. They're all faithfully recreated.
I had to
That
actually
enemy
do.
still sees me. I swear to fucking God, we got to get that tracking code. Or that tracking code function.
I'd see. I had to actually completely make Pink Spike's skeletal structure from scratch because it didn't come with. It's okay.
Sinuses, I swear to God. Magenta Rhythm still doesn't fit inside its capsule.
I know. It did at one point, and then all of a sudden it decided not going to anymore.
Probably need to just lower it down. Or move
Lower
it.
it,
Honestly, it
bring
needs
it
to be moved
forward.
forward. Like its origin
Yeah.
point needs to be brought forward.
Yep.
Or moved back. One of the two. I don't know.
I remember you had to go into a bunch of the games and just record the wisps idling for me,
I did.
so I
like
could get references.
I opened up Sonic Lost World, which I never want to do ever. I don't like Lost World. So I had to open up Sonic Lost World, locate a wisp capsule anywhere.
Just stare at
And
it.
I had to open up OBS and record some footage of it, and then send it to you, and you took that footage and recreated the animation.
Mm.
It was weird because Black Bomb doesn't have a capsule in Lost World, so what I actually had to do is open up Team Sonic
TSR.
Racing. Yeah, Team Sonic Racing, and hope to God that I got a Black Bomb, and then whenever I did, I would just stop the race right there. Or like I would just slow down and stop, and then turn on the recording and record Black
Yeah, I
Bomb.
do the same for
swing
Jade
back and forth.
Ghost as well.
Yeah, Jade Ghost had to do the same thing. So those are recreated from Team Sonic Racing. Which animation? Like, what did you do for the White Wisps?
It was Sonic Forces.
Oh, right.
It was one of the three of them inside. There was one like twirling its arms around itself. There was
Oh, yeah.
that one which is looking super shifty, and there was another one kind of like moving its hands up and down near its face. It was weird. They were packed in there like sardines, though. I'm doing lightning. One by one, they all started getting more life into them, and I remember that being such a cool moment.
Yep. And of course, you look at them from a distance, you just get
Low
poly.
polys.
low poly LODs of all of the wisps. Like, as Black Bomb goes from like happy to like sad
Sad, yeah.
because of its poly count. And then Cyan Laser looks like it's possessed and wants to eat you.
Oh no.
Like, cause like its irises disappear and it just becomes angular.
Mm.
Those
Wisps
wisps
are
looking
looking sus.
sus. A little bit, they're a tad bit sus.
I think blue cube is pretty sus.
I don't know. It could be this white wisp who is,
Oh no, yeah,
Shifty.
that's definitely white wisp.
he looks like he just walked away from murder. He's like, does anyone see anyone? Nobody saw that.
I know.
Right? Holy shit. I didn't do it. This motherfucker needs to fuck off. I like what we did with Yellow Drill's panning material.
I remember that. I think I had to switch it to the model specifically to get that effect working.
Yeah, this is the Forces model.
Yeah, and so is hover. Hover, yellow drill. I think that's it actually. Yellow and yellow drill and green hover models.
Yep.
I think all the rest except for a couple of TSR. Obviously,
Ivory Lightning was TSR, I believe.
yeah, all of them were Team Sonic Racing except for green hover, obviously because it wasn't game. Yellow drill because they changed it to get the Pana material, and
Purple Frenzy.
Purple Frenzy because Frenzy has only ever been in colors.
Yep.
Yeah, I had the whole army.
But all the rest of them look like. I was so happy when TSR like all the wisps in it because I remember when TSR was coming out. I was like, yes, there's gonna be somewhere where I can get like a crap ton of wisp models for the use for the engine. There was only like 2 wisps missing, I believe. With Purple Frenzy and Green Hover. And then I had to custom make some of the wisp heads. Like Great Quake, I had to custom make that one. Which was actually pretty easy for that. I just got the asteroid wisp head and just added some pointy ears to it. And the slam
Yeah, there's a
was
slam.
super easy.
I like how whenever you get out of like Black Bomb or Grey Quake, the characters are still.
Yeah, they're still kind of rotated. Yeah.
How long are the death streams usually? About 2 hours. We're at
Yeah.
the hour and 15 minutes. If we just absolutely run out of things to talk about and no one's really discussing anything, we'll
We will
cut it
end
short.
it.
But
Yeah.
I'm kind of tired, so I
I
don't
remember
really.
doing
I don't
some
mind.
of the-
At the moment, we're kind of just
Yeah.
shooting the shit, and I don't really care.
Yeah.
So
going a bit through the memory lane of wisps.
Yep.
But I remember animating Frenzy's like wisp form.
oh yeah.
And like it kind of worked, even though I didn't know what I was going to do with the animation. But it kind of like works for it. Doing the material work for that as well was fun.
Yeah.
Frenzy's like one of them that's got like a panning material on them. Red Burst was the coolest. I think Red Burst came out the best.
There's still a lot of visual particle work that needs to be done with these wisps. Like
Mm.
Cyan Laser needs some particle work done. Spike has its particles. We need to. I think we still need to rework Eagle. Eagle will probably be reworked with Blue Cube. I don't know if we're gonna do that
Yeah.
before this update.
Those will be next update thing, revision update. Like, Frenzy's materials are great.
It'd be cool to give like all of the wisps the frenzy treatment. Not frenzy, the
Red Burst.
Yeah, the red burst treatment. Like give their materials like something, a little extra spice. You know what I mean? To like help reflect what they are.
Electro Spice.
I mean, because like look at burst. It looks
mean-
like it's flowing magma and
Yeah,
it's
but that's
constantly
like
vibrating.
that's like the idea of burst. That's what it looked like in the DS version.
Really, but
Like it had flowing magma. It didn't look like it was. It had a panning texture, at least.
are you going to make a new tutorial level like Seaside Hill to account for the new combat and all stuff, or will you just add the Seaside Hill you made the last update? That's
Not
another thing we actually need to
Entirely
work on.
sure.
No,
We
we
need
do
to-
have a tutorial level. So that is something we
Well,
do
yeah,
have.
the combat tutorial level.
Yeah.
We're gonna have the combat tutorial level for all of the new combat
I think I
stuff.
can
But
remember
we are not
using
going to
one
be
was on
fully
this map.
reworking Seaside Hill again
Mhm.
or Seagate again for account of all of this new combat stuff. Seagate, we need to tweak ever so slightly in certain areas to accommodate some of the newer movement.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be like a huge overhaul like last time.
One thing I've already done, and if you play the Christmas update, you actually see this, is I have already included some functionality for silver in there. Things like, some crates and stuff you can pick up and throw around,
Psycho.
and yeah, there's some psycho aura locations that silver can move objects into place for, so you can actually progress through the level. So that level has been adjusted for silver. If it doesn't break the level too much, I might toss in like a wisp or two in there just for the fun of it. They're not gonna like enhance it in any way, but if people want to use it to break the levels in half, whatever.
A quicker but
Um,
smaller area teleporter.
But
Aye.
we're not. I mean, I could probably like toss in like a laser prism or two, if you manage to grab
Other
laser.
thing, technically the wisps don't have an area. It's just tutorial, like the demo rooms is essentially.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, not this update because we're way behind and we've like the things we want to do. But I might. I mean, I don't know if you will,
Of
too,
course
but
you
maybe
would
in the future update, I might actually do a bit more of a heavier revision to see, yes, to probably include like a wisp path or something. I don't know, just somewhere where you can sprinkle wisps in every now and then.
It'd be
I'm
interesting
not-
to have like additional wisp section, or maybe even if it is an entire path, like little hidden divots or like little extra minute
Yeah,
shortcuts that you can use
your-
wisps to achieve.
All of your hidden little items and stuff. Just put some wisps in certain areas.
Do something like
It's just
that.
because some of the wisps will be slightly overpowered for a level like that.
I mean, like Pink Spike. Pink Spike could break so many sections at that level.
Oh yeah.
Um,
So can Void. All of the ones that can fly really break up a shit ton of the level. Like you need to have level design catered around that wisp for the area,
Yes, this is
or at
rocket
least gives you
launcher.
access to
also, in
areas.
the latest demo you released, did you remove the ability to game boost from picking up rings? If so, will it be a toggleable feature in the full release? That will be a toggleable feature.
We didn't turn it off, did we?
I don't think we turned it off. In fact, actually, we didn't turn it off. It stopped working.
We did.
Yeah, because remember, we changed the speed parent to use a new structure, and the rings weren't told to look for that structure. So
I
we
see.
didn't turn it
Okay.
off. It broke. But it's working now.
We fixed it now. But yeah, that will be a toggle anyway. But
Yeah, that will
Yeah.
be a toggle because
Sarah, step real quick.
the little crystal
we
items
actually
here,
didn't have this, did we? We had to have the wisp give me a back boost.
the little crystal items you can pick up right here, those will also add to your boost, and you can adjust those variables. So you can have a resource outside of rings to give you boost, so those energy pickups, the white wisps will also give you a boost. The rings can give you boost. It's really just up to you. We've added a lot of different options for you to pick and choose how you want the players to gain boost as they progress through the level. Currently, the rings will always give you boost. I didn't give them a feature to not give you boost,
I feel like
but
That
that's
would be a
honestly not that big of a
good-
deal. Like,
like
that'll be easy.
would you do that? Well, you'd probably do it in the game instance or something. I don't know. Like there should be like some sort of global
Literally teleported onto me.
There should be
ring.
what?
There should be some sort of like global switch that will tell the rings to not give boost. You know, I feel like it'd be a game instance thing.
Or you could just put that in the level manager.
Or level manager, yeah.
If
Okay.
you put that in the level manager, you could just say,
You need to have it globally, though. So you'd have to like probably just put a switch in the You'd have to put it in the instant, and then the level manager will grab it from the instant, and then tell all the rings you're not supposed to be
You're not supposed to give energy or whatever, you know.
Yeah. Because like gameplay options and stuff like that, we need to probably save in the instance, so obviously it's across the entire levels and all
And
that.
it's on that last
Yep.
stage.
I haven't fixed it
That's a
quite yet.
next thing, though, I would say.
I haven't fixed it quite yet, but pretty much the boost, the power parents stress meter and the flight parents scrap meter all need to work on the same uniform system. So that way, if you want scrap, overheat, or boost to be like gained through rings,
I know what you mean.
energy
Yeah.
drops, or white wisps, like that needs to be a uniform thing. That way, you can simply turn on and off. Like, hey, do you want this to do this? Do you want, you know, flight parent? Do you want flight characters to gain scrap from white wisps? You know, that needs to be a thing that they do.
Sounds really like oofing, you know? Gets a
Do
white
you-
wisp and then turns it into scrap.
Do you want the flight parents to rip open a white wisp and tear out their innards and get scrap from them?
Oof. I mean, they need that hyper go on power, I guess. Oof. I don't like that image in my head. Fine.
But yeah, essentially, that needs to be. It almost is. I'd have to look it over again. It wouldn't be difficult to include, but a system like that would be super easy to add in. That way, the white wisps just has to call a function, or the rings just have to call a function, or the energy cores will just have to call a function and say, "Hey, I'm supposed to give you energy. Include energy into X, whatever it is that you want to include it into." You know.
Mm-hmm.
And the children and the parents from there will handle it.
Yes.
Which I think I did actually do already. I'll just have to go through and double check it. And actually add that functionality to the white wisps and the rings if I haven't already. I did something along those lines. I'll have to look at it, see what I did, and make adjustments from there. But to answer your initial question, like we did earlier already, yeah, the rings will have the ability to toggle. I'm trying to think of, because I think it's something we should probably do, is just rework Blue Cube from the ground up.
Yeah, you said. And
Excuse me.
I mean, it needs the core thing of
David's like refusing to launch me up here.
Yeah.
The-
On the
the-
ceiling.
identity of the blue cube is toggling the blue rings to blue cube.
Mhm.
But we need to make a more interesting way for it to do it. Like I've already came up with, the whole big issue with blue cube is it brings you to a complete standstill.
Oh, you're
when you
right.
do
Shit.
it.
Mhm.
So like, immediately I thought, well, if you're in motion and you do it, just it'll continue your momentum when you it'll slam down and then continue your momentum when it's done.
Yeah.
And then that keeps the flow going a little bit. But we also had like other ideas that we came up with, and it's just generally something that would go for a big revision for. Just try a bunch of ideas out for.
All we do know is Blue Cube, as it stands right now,
Barely functions.
is really difficult. It barely functions. We have a uniform system set up for all wisps. Like all the wisps uses one uniform system, and they all fit inside of the uniform system really well, except for two exceptions. One being Jade Ghost, the other one being Blue Cube. And of the two, Blue Cube is way more out of its league. Like Jade Ghost, we just had to make a couple of minor tweaks here and there, and it functions just fine. There isn't any major, huge changes in how the wisps function under the hood for Jade Ghost to function. We just simply don't possess it. We don't,
Yeah, I'll take
like,
it.
we spawn in a blank actor. We don't possess it. We don't really do anything with the camera, but we tell that actor to run in the background, and we change a few things in the master, and the master then just continues on as if nothing is different, and then whenever you despawn, either manually or by running out of energy, it like
What?
goes, oh, you're in a Jade Ghost state, I'm going to save any leftover energy if you have it, and then we're just going to simply despawn it, and we're not messing with your camera or who we're possessing or whatever. We're just going to simply change a few things with the master, and we move on. Like, it's really not difficult to get Jade Ghost functioning with the master. Blue Cube, on the other hand, is a bitch. Blue Cube was just...
This is constantly like a toggle sort of thing. And even when you're not in the wisp, you're still running the wisp. So it's one of the only wisps you can't cancel out of.
Yeah,
it
is actually the only wisp you can't cancel out of as far as I'm concerned.
Yep.
Except for Rocket, you could cancel out of Rocket. There's just no reason to.
I mean, it's really short, yeah.
Like, we've turned off that functionality just because there's no real purpose to doing so. But there is, like, as soon as we include some more, like, item interactions with Rocket, then maybe there could be a reason why you'd want to, in which case it's fine. That functionality is already in place. That's okay. Not Blue Cube. Blue Cube just cannot be canceled. And it is so annoying.
Okay.
So, I wonder. The thing is with Blue Cube is we do spawn in an actor, and we temporarily possess that actor because that actor needs to run a few things. And then after that actor does what it needs to do, we then, like, we unhide the player character, we hide them.
The wisp actor.
Yeah, and then, like, we constantly toggle them back and forth. We hide the wisp actor, we unhide the player actor, and then when we use it, we hide the player actor, unhide the wisp actor, and then the wisp actor has to run things, and the wisp actor has to know where you're at, what you're doing at that instance, and then it has to fucking do things depending on that, and then the code has to swap back through and go, oh, you're transforming back into Tails or Sonic, whoever, but the wisp is still functioning, so we're still going to run in the background, but we're still going to exist. You're just going to repossess Tails, but then we, like, constantly swap back and forth. It's a pain. It's annoying, and I hate working with it. But it's one of the reasons why I would not be against completely reworking it, because I want to think that we need to stay true to the wisps on one hand, but we have obviously been taking a lot of liberties with the wisps to make them. So what?
We've had, like, yeah, we've had to mention as well, like, drill works very differently to how it does usually. Because the other thing we always said is we wanted to make sure all wisps worked in both 2D and 3D.
Yeah. This is like, we wanted to make sure all the wisps function regardless of, like, what situation you're in. If you're underwater, if you're in a 2D section, or you're, you know, fucking around on the moon or whatnot. So we had to take some liberties on how, like, drill works. We had to take liberties on how Grey Quake and Black Bomb worked, and we had to take a few liberties on how Crimson Eagle worked. We had to change some of their core functionality due to where they originated from. Like, all of those wisps were all motion controls. We had to rework them and retool them to be basic controller controls, which wasn't that big of a deal. It wasn't super difficult. But there's also the case of Magenta Rhythm. Magenta Rhythm required the use of a touchscreen, and even though they did adjust it for the PC port so you can simply press the jump button and tap it, we felt that, you know, it was just an unenjoyable wisp because it was way too circumstantial. Like, you had to be in a correct location at a correct spot in order to utilize what it can do, and that was just not fun, so we had to rework it. Blue Cube is kind of the same way in a sense, that if, like, other than attacking and hitting enemies, the only thing Blue Cube is used for is toggling those Blue Cube rings, and that is really specific to the levels, like, depending on where the level is at, like, where you're at in the level, if there's any rings nearby, if there isn't. Like, if there's no rings nearby, Blue Cube is just a glorified AoE attack that slows you down. So I don't know why I really didn't consider this or think about it beforehand, but I think we need to just take Blue Cube back to the drawing board and redo it from the ground up, I think.
Mm-hmm. Try and make Operation Make Blue Cube great again.
Again would imply it was good in the first place.
It was good to me. Had a banging
just
tune.
needs to be redone. Are the ships on the preview pick
So,
and the new
for
depug
vendors.
somewhere in the stage or no? The new ships? What?
Oh no, I think I know. I was reading that too, and I was
Like, the nerf
confused. I
fires
think he's
is
on about
great.
the thumbnail for the new debug room, which is using my old egg fleet level
Oh,
thumbnail.
right. Okay. I know what you're talking about.
No, the reason it uses that is because we didn't have a picture at the time. I had that picture lying around, so I just threw it on because I made an egg fleet level like ages ago. I didn't do much with it, but
Do
it's
we
just
still
a
have those
it's
egg
just a
fleet
leftover.
assets?
No.
Okay.
I don't think it's in the engine anymore. Like any of the assets, I don't think, unless you would like just search egg fleet.
Egg. Just search egg. We just
Yeah,
find eggs.
If you just search egg. But like I don't think they're in there anymore. I think I completely scrubbed them. But no, yeah, like those won't be there. You can easily find those models on resource.
So there's your answer. Nope, there is no egg fleet ships.
It was just me when I was bored one afternoon and made a level.
Honestly, Sonic Heroes levels do function pretty well in the Infinity Engine.
Yeah.
It's like I was.
Well, standard Infinity Engine so far.
Yeah.
Because that's the only one that's got like. Metropolis is the only port though, isn't it? There's no other Heroes level that I know of that's been ported.
I don't believe so, no. But like you were recreating Egg Fleet. I mean, you weren't recreating Egg Fleet. You were doing your own thing with it, but it was still very much in the vein of how Sonic Heroes did it, and it did work. It did work with the.
Yeah. That was way back in the day when like skydiving happened when you were just in the air,
Yeah,
like so
you
high
just,
up off the ground.
You just be in the air and you would skydive, you know.
Which I'll always admit was a cool thing, but it was kind of
Annoying.
for platforming.
And it also confused a lot of people. That was actually 100% visual. A lot of people thought like, oh, you're skydiving everywhere. You're allowed to go super far with it. Like all of that was actually visual. I dug into the code of Vanilla Infinity Engine, and I found out that the skydiving code in Vanilla Infinity Engine is all aesthetic. Like your physics don't change. Nothing changes whenever you're skydiving in Vanilla Infinity.
Whenever you're skiving.
Yeah, whenever you're skiving, you're skydive vibing. It's skiving.
Skydive vibing.
Say that 3 times real fast. Skydive vibing, skydive vibing, skydive vibing. Fuck you. But yeah, that's one thing I always thought was really funny about Infinity Engine. A lot of people were really whiny about that. But after looking into it, I'm like, wait, this is all aesthetic. This doesn't actually do anything. The only thing it did do, and it wasn't really tied to the skydiving itself, it was tied to a trace that Vanilla Infinity was doing, is like skydiving back then allowed you to do the meteor crash, which it wasn't really the skydiving, it was a trace that looked for your distance off the ground, and it just so happened that that trace for the skydiving is the same length as the trace for the meteor crash, which if I remember right, at least I think so. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure it used to use a trace. I know the skydiving did, but I'm trying to remember if meteor crash actually used the trace or not.
I just didn't realize it spawned.
Now that fun fact is purely for Vanilla Infinity, by the way. I don't know if the Max and Adams version has changed anything, and I don't know if the edited version used for Sonic 2020 has changed any of that. They might have. I don't know. I didn't look in the code, and I also don't care. So I'm just talking about your Vanilla Infinity, not Max and Adams, and not Sonic 2020, which uses the Max and Adam build, I believe, but like heavily edited.
So many like sub-variants now of what you call them.
There's technically 3. There's just Vanilla Infinity, which no one can really get anymore. You can only get that secondhand. There's the Max and Adam build, which a lot of people associate with Vanilla Infinity, though it's not what Infinity was upon its original release. And then there's our version, Infinity Plus.
Yep.
So there's only the 3 versions. It's just like, obviously, once someone takes a version and they alter it and change it for their own individual game. That's now their version of that. So, for example, Tiger Sonalex, they have altered
He
and
hasn't-
changed Infinity Plus for their version.
He's
So-
got an Infinity Plus edit. The people who do the Sonic 2020 have, I'm pretty sure, a Max and Adam edit.
So
Or a
it's-
vanilla edit.
I'm pretty sure it's Max and Adam.
Yeah, I feel like it is.
Because NECA does work with them, but NECA included the Rails into Max and Adam's build before 2020 got a hold of the build. But 2020 also has the same goal rings and the same result screen as Max and Adams does. And they also have all the same item interactions and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure there's also some of the same bugs, but I've not
they've
played
got some
2020
of
in a long
our
time.
assets in there too.
They did. They didn't even ask.
I'm pretty sure they asked about the flapper. I think.
They
I
asked.
can't remember.
They asked after they added. Like, they added it, they released it, they didn't credit us either. And then later on they came back and they're like, oh yeah, by the way, these egg flappers we use, that's from you guys. How should we credit you? I'm just like, just credit us as Infinity Plus. It's like, it's fine that
I
they
wasn't
did.
bothered anyway.
Like, I wasn't bothered the fact that they didn't ask, because people are going to take assets. They're not our assets. They're free public use. If they weren't, we wouldn't have published them or released them. But it's just so... I find it funny that they didn't, like... As high profile as Sonic 2020 is, they didn't, like, you know, properly credit the people that worked on it or contributed stuff.
Small potatoes.
Yeah. Well, I've been sitting here rambling for a while. I don't mind continuously talking. Like, this is pretty much gone from dev stream territory to just rambling and talking.
Slight reminiscing. All the wisps. Wisps.
With
Ghost babies. That's just a canonical name for them now. For me, it's just ghost babies.
They are now ghost babies. So
We do need to do every time I look at your ring counter, it goes like in increments of 111.
yeah, that's because I added one ring into here, which I did to test the respawning.
So those are going to be like 444 now.
Yep. If I do it 2 more times, it'll be 666.
Oh no. We need to get the item box interactions working for combat, because we were going to make it like knuckle punch open the item boxes, and you could probably throw a bomb at the item boxes, I would imagine, or like tail swipe them.
Yeah, tail swipe.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be too
'Cause-
difficult. We'll just have to talk to Manuel because we just got to get the
You just need the
hitbox.
item boxes. Yeah, the item boxes to understand hitboxes, and then it should work flawlessly, I hope. How dare you? Oh no.
Evil number. Ah, it's a
Yeah,
tail
tail
stall. It's the exact same thing.
Yep,
Like, we
of
get
course.
to 666 and tail stall just spawns in.
Tail still starts raining down from the sky.
Oh yeah, that's another thing we can talk about. Tails. No, I'm kidding. We were talking. You and I were talking the other day, and I actually started working on it. This is what I was working on before GitHub decided to screw me over. The zone functionality.
Oh yeah, you would. I know what you're on about. Getting the zone transitions and stuff.
Yeah. So if you've noticed in the main menus, if anyone has played in the main menus, let's see here. There it is. You'll see in the levels, if I open here and go to a level, you'll see. Oh, is there not an act number on here? Oh no, the act numbers aren't displayed yet.
No,
That's inside of
not
the.
yet.
It's inside of the instance. If you've ever worked inside of the instance, you'll notice in like the levels info array, you'll see things like act number. That hasn't been doing anything. That kind of just sits there. we were thinking about altering it so that way you can group levels up into acts. So, for example, if you're in a menu and you select a level, instead of the level automatically, or like the menu automatically booting into a level, it can pull up an act select, so that way you can cycle through all the acts inside of that zone. So, it would essentially include a zone system where you can collect levels into a list
Bad idea.
that are correlative to each other. It's mainly something we would do so you wouldn't have to do it yourself. Obviously, you don't have to have zones, and you don't have to have levels with acts if you don't want to. It would be pretty easy to set up a system where like you don't have to do that. Like you can do either one depending on which one you want. I was trying to figure out different ways of doing it. There's a multitude of different ways we could do it, to be honest. But it would be... I'm pretty sure all of the levels would still be listed in the level info array like it is here. But essentially there would be like... probably like a string variable added that you would simply copy and paste into every level that exists in a zone. So for example, if we took our like 3 debug levels and we wanted to collect them into a zone, we could list them all as a debug zone, and then we would then number them based on their acts.
Yes.
And then from the main menu, we could then select debug zone and then cycle through them in the acts, so that way we could select which one specifically we want. And obviously, as it cycles through the act, you would also cycle through things like red rings, score time, and the picture and all that stuff. And I think one thing we could also do is like have the individual acts have different names if you want them to, obviously. Which wouldn't actually change any. Like the level name would be the same. You could specify, leave it right here, like say the level, this is original debug zone or debug zone ultra instinct or whatever the fuck, you know. And they would be displayed as they are in the level menu, depending on which act you select, but they would be under the moniker of a X zone. So debug zone, act 1, whatever the name of that act is, you know? So
Yeah.
none of this would have to change too much, to be honest, but would have to alter.
Yeah, I don't know.
You'd have to alter the menu slightly to include that interaction. And I don't think we would have to. I was thinking about it. One of the reasons why I stopped working on it, because I had to sit back and think about it. And I don't think we actually need to alter, like, the level blueprint or the score blueprint. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think we actually need to alter that at all.
I mean, honestly, I think
I don't. Yeah, I guess.
Because it's already told, like, you already tell it which zone to, or which level to open up next. So that doesn't really care what zone it's in, it just opens up a level based on its level name. So if you opened up a level name, I think one thing we do need to change, though, is change it so that if you play through a story mode versus a level select mode, like, oh, you beat a level in a level select mode, we move you back to the menu, versus, oh, you played and beat the level in a story mode, we could proceed to the next level, you know?
Yeah.
That is something we do need to change, but...
Doing the whole menu rework stuff is something I'm needing to get to do next update. There's no way any time to do it now, but I need to rework how certain parts of the menu work so it's easier for people to, like, skip like the character select or the level select for stuff, because people have asked that before in the past. There's no easy way to do it.
Yeah.
And
there's also the character select thing. And we'll have, I'm pretty sure it is set up this way. I'll have to double check, but like make it more modular as to which steps the menus go through. Like, obviously you would select a story or a level select, but then like, do you want to select the level first, or do you want to select the character first, or do you want to like select something in the sub level, like you want to select the act, something like that? Like which order the menus go in as you navigate them is something that needs to be modularized. I'm pretty sure it is modular already.
It's partially, yeah. They're all separated. It's just
changing it to actually Be a little bit easier to dictate what you want it to be.
Yeah. Mhm. So right now it's coded. If you hit the button, it does. Like, it opens the menu, but people might want the single player to be a story mode and stuff, or maybe add in a menu in between. Like, once you
Single
press
player,
it goes like, I don't know, time trial, like add an extra menu as the time travel story challenge, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Stuff like that needs to be future proofed, or like try to at least be thought out of, so it's a bit more easier to modularize for people.
Yeah, stuff like that needs to be done. It's not like a huge deal.
Yeah, there's a reason I haven't bothered doing it yet. It's because it's not a priority. That's the menu stuff is kind of like was never really necessary. Really, it was mainly for stage demos, but then kind of just expanded it to try and make it a nice built-in system.
Yeah, it's not super complicated, and altering these changes that we're talking about won't make it too much more complicated. It will add like an extra layer of complication to it, but not to the point where it's undoable or anything like that, or customizable, because some people are going to want it to be certain ways, some other people are going to want it to be other ways, and no one's going to agree on how they want their menus to be navigated. So as long as it's basic functionalities in there, and it's modular to be changeable however you want it to be, that's the main focus. And so far, I think it's in a state where it can, but we just need to go over it.
Yeah.
So what?
It can be, it's just difficult.
Yeah, it's a little difficult.
It's intuitive.
It could be better, and there are just a few more functionality features that we want to include into the menu. So that's the main thing to do with the menus. So
yeah, well, that's probably a next update issue.
Probably,
because I don't think I could be bothered starting all that right now before we have a release ready, because it could probably break it all, and then it would push it back even further. Right now, we are just in the mind. Well, it should be in the mindset. I hope all of us is don't mess with other stuff, because it could break and delay it even further. Just get the stuff that we're doing right now nailed down.
Yep.
I definitely need more greens. I need 12 more greens.
Manual's just straight up gone.
His.
So,
I didn't have enough.
I guess to quickly go over everything that we've talked about.
Sites.
At the end, just to do like a quick recap. We've added the stun bomb. Tails has a stun bomb that stuns enemies. Along with the stun bomb, we've altered enemy what's it called? Enemy tracking code, so that way they change how they track targets and stuff like that. There's a new track priority system. Flying while aiming with bombs is a lot easier now, but it's also been balanced so that way it's not super easy to abuse. Another thing was the tornado jump. The tornado jump allows you to get a lot of nice and decent height without needing to fly, and you can also use it to bounce off of enemies for extra height, and you can even fly out of it. You're skilled enough. Let's see here. A new aiming mode where it's over the shoulder, which is customizable depending on how you want the bombs to function. Throwing code. Bombs now also have a homing feature where if you overlap with the target, they will now home in on a target even if the target is moving.
It might be because you're executing.
Which makes combat a lot nicer when it's faster paced because you don't have to worry about being super precise. Bombs can also be bounced as well, so if we have a bomb here, we hit it, it can be bounced, and bounced bombs can focus on targets and home in on them. if you bounce them at the right time near enemies. Like so. There they go. And I think that's about it. I think that's the last bit of things that we shown off. Just going through the list of things on the GitHub.
So that's practically it for the stream, to be honest, because we're stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. We've went over everything as a quick recap. Oh, another thing, real quick. This is something that someone actually asked about. We did show it off in the past. Would we get like a crosshair for like Knuckles for aiming? Probably. The art code is going to have, like, this isn't going to be the final form of the art code. Obviously, we're going to have like an actual arc that's visible. And that arc will still be visible if you go in the over the shoulder code or like the over the shoulder aiming mode.
So ukulele is good to stack.
Because it's still using the same arc code, it doesn't do like a straight shot. So a crosshair wouldn't make too much sense because it's not a line of sight thing, it's an arc still.
Yeah, no, you need clover.
Sorry for the aiming. Yeah, I mean, I figured that's what you was talking about. So we probably won't do a crosshair, but we are planning on getting like a actual aiming thing to go across, if that makes sense. The thing that someone wanted to see was, let's see here, boop. Character swapper. We do have a character swapper.
Yeah.
So if you overlap with a trigger box, you can swap to another character, Sonic 06 style. And that character will, for the most part, function as intended. It's not complete because there's still HUD work to be done with it.
Like they don't shoot 3 now, they shoot 1.
So
it's down though.
That's something someone was talking about in the server like a day or 2 ago, and they were very curious when I said, like, oh, we already have that. And they're like, what do you mean you have that? I'm like, yeah, we showed it off on the stream. So.
Oh yeah, I remember that now, yeah.
But now I've showed it off again. It's also at the very end, so it's easy to track. So the next time we do the dev stream will be the 26th of April. And then the dev stream after that, which will be May 10th, that'll be the last dev stream before I have to go back to work. So,
oh dear.
Hopefully we will be closer to being finished by that time with this update. And obviously this will be re-uploaded on the 19th. And I think that is just about it. I am going to probably stream again later on today. Probably going to do some Xenoblade. Haven't decided yet. I mean, I'll need to take a break first. Or I might do some more work on the project. I haven't decided quite yet. Have to see. Thanks for everyone who joined in. We'll see everybody next time.
Right, you'll see you later.